Pani Oksana, thank you
Hi.
for joining. And I know you have some experience in political life in United States. Everybody saying that Ukraine is not part of the NATO, but nobody talks about Budapest Memorandum. That basically that's agreement between United States, Great Britain, and other countries to protect Ukraine in case Ukraine will be threatened. So I just wanted to ask you, maybe you can unpack this and how you see on this agreement, how you see this.
Yeah, this is very important for Americans to remember or just to be reminded about. First, I think it's a big hole in American diplomacy because when America, United States of America, the strongest country in the world, main NATO member, signs a document which was called Budapest Memorandum in 1994, a few years after Soviet Union fell apart. And Ukraine, the very, very low obedient country, was agreed to have equal exchange. We gave up, we turned on all our very, very important, potent part of our military system, which was part of Soviet Union, including nuclear weapon and air missiles and planes and everything which can carry those bombs and nuclear missiles. We gave it up just for handshake, gentleman agreement between few countries, and we're talking about United States of America, Russia, and England, and few more. But it was probably the biggest mistake of Ukraine as a young independent country then, because if we have crystal ball and we look what's going to happen very, very soon, and especially second time it has happening in such a bloody way today, we would probably reconsider that decision. But again, we were following the law, we were showing our goodwill and our absolutely sincere intention to make a peace over planet Earth, and we wanted to be part of it. It means we giving up all weapon we could have, but we deliberately saying no. But in exchange, what we wanted, very, very little. We just wanted to have assurance, protection from those big countries, especially Russia and United States, of course, for helping us to protect our identity, our independence, our borders, and our safety. It was, I think, pretty equal from their side, but it was not enough from Ukraine. We just trust those very respectful countries. And look what happened after 10 plus years in 2014, that Budapest Memorandum became just a simple piece of paper without any
obligation
from law side of that document. Because if we have signature from United States of America, it's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to mean
Bill Clinton signed it, and we have
it was not just like third world country, we're signing. So it was historical document, and it was totally ignored. And during first phase of war between Russia and Ukraine, brutally, Donbass area, Crimea, we already felt, oh my God, it was probably a mistake. And our first scream for help, not actually for help, just for contributing something to that agreement. We're not like asking for extra help, just do what you promised to us. And we did not hear anything. We did not have any response, really, maybe somewhere, some conversation, but technically, we did not get any real support and any real compensation.
In 2014, and now also, nobody talking about this because...
Actually, in 2014, we just lost part of our territory, and first line in this agreement was untouchable borders, untouchable sovereign Ukraine, which was just ignored, and this is what happened. And after those years,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I just have to. Darling, I need some silence here, please.
I can wait. We can wait. That's okay. We'll cut off.
And now we have second phase of that brutal incompetence. I don't know even how to explain it. In a time when we face in second phase of that Russian aggression in 100 times more brutal, look what's going on. We just started to mention that Budapest Agreement on different levels, and do we see any real reaction? No. And why world thinks we are begging for help? Actually, we are not. We just want them to keep their gentleman word, and they ignore it again. And it would be so handy for us to know we still have that protection, even if it's
obviously not
active. Yeah,
not
just
resisted.
like moral support. And nobody would even think about attacking us, right?
If we had nuclear weapons.
And today. And this is what happened.
And I know it's not just nuclear weapons. Ironically, it was 25 Tu-95 MS. It's large 4-engine turboprop strategic bomber. It's equivalent to B-52, and we just know, like a few weeks ago, American B-52. It wasn't on the news, but you can find video on YouTube. That they B-52 tried to approach a Russian base somewhere in near Ukraine, and the same bombers that Ukraine gave up approach and intercept American. Exactly. So it's pretty it's old plane, but it's still very capable of protection and in military. And another 19 Tu-160, that's another supersonic bomber that Russian just recently they use it to target Lviv, the city in West Ukraine, and they launch, I believe, 30 rockets.
30, yes.
30, and eight of them wasn't intercepted and kill 36 people, I believe. So this,
and it's 12 miles from border of
Poland.
NATO
so the same,
it's a walking distance.
The same plane that Ukraine gave because of goodwill and nuclear weapon. I'm not even talking about almost 2,000 nuclear warheads in intercontinental that nobody even think to attack Ukraine if Ukraine just kept a few of them. And now Ukraine is begging to give this 40 years old couple planes that Poland and other countries want to do. And nobody mentioned about this plane that it was.
No, and you know what just came to my mind when Ukraine signed that agreement with United States and Russia, when we were talking about keeping Ukraine territory untouchable and protecting borders, who would think we were probably talking about imaginary enemy coming from totally different direction, and it happened to be the same country who signed that agreement. So Russia
it's not worth to
killing us with the same bullets and guns we gave up. It's like terrible irony. It's not like third country who was not participating in that agreement. It's exactly one big country who was signing that agreement and who was supposed to be in charge to keep all those promises, and they should do something with all those weapons to delete it or to give it to another use. But they, exactly like you're saying, you're using the same weapon by the same country who's supposed to control that agreement, and they killing us with our weapon. This is ridiculous. This is a big problem which has to be faced by future diplomats, and it has to be in every book and in every school of international diplomacy, like a big mistake, and how to avoid similar mistakes in future. And I hope Ukraine will learn finally, maybe now, third time, we're not going to sign, I hope we're not going to agree to any agreement on a paper with assurance, especially from the same countries. We need something more than a piece of paper, which is useless today.
Unfortunately, yes, and it's not just betrayal of Russia. Russia is, we learn, we know it's not worth even signing any. Well, Ukraine eventually will have to sign everything, but it doesn't mean Ukraine can trust them. But the worst part, Ukraine also can't trust any promises from Western world, from Western country, from United States.
Exactly.
And
you see, it's for me, it's supposed to be like honorable moment. If it's like gentleman to gentleman, country to country, United States, it's not just a country, it's the biggest country in the world with perfect reputation. And when they do that, it puts many questions on the table.
Yeah, how? Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt. How they expect to sign Iranian deal not to develop nuclear weapons if every country in the world see what happened with Ukraine when Ukraine gave nuclear weapons? So what's this administration hoping for in that deal? I don't see any logic in it, because they knew Putin gonna invade, so you can at least try to stop him or give protection before he invade. And except talking, there was no action. There was no any help, any weapons, protective weapons, just to protect city. And you know, if, for example, Ukraine, it could be free, completely free for United States, for taxpayers, if the weapon left behind in Afghanistan.
Oh yes.
At least part of it was given to Ukraine, and it would prevent Putin to invade.
Many of those bombs and missiles are from that area, because they were easily transported or bought by Russia or just exchanged very cheap for maybe 1 penny instead of $1. And this is what we have right now. All that weapon is used against us instead of being on our side.
You think the Russian may use those also?
Yes. Yeah. Because I absolutely sure first weeks after Afghanistan disaster happened, what they did, they were selling it left and right. And who is the first buyer? Mr. Putin, through Egypt, maybe through other country. Why not everybody gonna make a little margin and they're gonna sell it, and part of it is gonna be just put it into parts and maybe trying to make some copy or use it for future, and big part is gonna be just simply used, and this is what they're doing today. This is
well, I don't know. I didn't see anything like that in the news. Maybe I don't know, but in nowadays I think it's everything possible, because Ukraine asking for help. Ukrainian president, he is very polite and diplomatic. He didn't mention Budapest Memorandum when he was giving speech.
He should.
Yesterday, but Biden wasn't even there. He was afraid he may say something. So, but from other side, Ukraine is one-on-one basically. They, even if they promise some weapons and protective equipment, military, he said everything like for Putin, I'm gonna give him this and this and that in couple of weeks. And why should you tell your enemy what they're gonna get? They will prepare. They probably have problem to transfer this everything. And it's instead of making it like private and just to be make sure it's safe for everybody who will transfer everything. And instead of that, it just they make big announcement, like he did big announcement. Putin gonna invade.
It's totally not professional, and even. We all know, because we see what was happening even few weeks before that big war. It was information spreaded like panic attack. Oh yeah, it's gonna be war, or it's gonna be attack this day or that day or another day. So they really knew But again, like we were talking before, we did not believe we dealing with total psychopath. We thought we dealing with dictator, and you can even analyze what dictator is gonna do, because it must be some logic. But probably they knew it's gonna have nothing to do with logic and common sense, and they knew all those stupid plans of Putin. And instead to prevent it, again, remembering, oh my God, we have agreement from 1994. If something is so hot, we should do something to prevent that explosion. No, they did nothing. They just asked Ukrainian president to leave country.
Yeah, they offered him to leave instead of
to leave. It's like, excuse me, you're not in a position to offer to other country presidents such a traitorship act. And another thing, they demolish American embassy connection. It's like very expensive communication line. Mm-hmm. It never happened in the history of our American diplomacy. They did not do it when it was in Tbilisi, tanks on the street. Wow. I believe in Chechnya.
Did it happen? I'm sorry.
It never happened before, and to move embassy from Kyiv to Lviv before something really is happening, just because of gossips, it never happened, and they left behind all Ukrainian workers there, not even thinking about them, and they demolish all that infrastructure to the level it cannot be renovated at all. Why? I think they knew Kyiv supposed to be under Russian flag in 24 hours, maybe with few gunshots, maybe even not, and they could just say, oh, well, it's just Ukrainian problems, and good, we did not have war, good, we are big peacemakers. And what? We just realized, because they did not move embassy to Poland immediately, they moved it to Lviv, to my city. It means that part of Ukraine is supposed to be safe, and everything is from Dnipro River, probably, well, it's gonna join new USSR. This is how it looked to me. I'm not a politician, I'm not a political analyst, or just common sense tell me that.
May I ask you, did it happen before war started? They evacuated before, but they destroy everything before that started, right?
Yeah.
So they exactly
when they moved to Lviv. Yeah, I had sources, and I think many people know about that, because it was just a demolition of everything. I mean, not just building, it's still there, but to have that system, like high-level security communication system, and again, embassy in Ukraine. It's an embassy in
It was kind of protection for capital of Ukraine, because they wouldn't bomb
exactly
So they just gave Putin green light to nobody's there.
Because again, if our embassy was still there, at least like half of staff, or somehow, it could be big no sign for Putin to bomb Kyiv first night. Who would think? You did not expect it. I did not expect it. We knew something might happen in East Ukraine. Maybe they want to have full Donetsk region just instead of part of it. We were ready for that kind of development, but first night he showed us, he wanted us to shake. He wanted to show us what he can do just because he can. And bombarding Kyiv, capital of Ukraine, in 5 o'clock in the morning, and area around from Kyiv, Lviv, West Ukraine, which would never probably happen in a worst nightmare. He just showed it, look, I can do anything I want, and even your Kyiv is already handed to me on a golden plate. This is how it looks to me. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, it was shock for everyone, but it looks like they knew exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And since they offered the Ukrainian president to evacuate, come to United States, so they had a plan, or I don't know how you call it. I'm speculating, but everything pointing to that they knew, but they didn't give any chances for Ukrainians to fight back. They didn't help.
Yeah, it was biggest surprise for them, and not a pleasant surprise, which is painful even talk about that to me. But they were absolutely disappointed. Everything went wrong, and they had big obstacles. 45 million of Ukrainians.
Yeah,
and Ukrainian
nobody
army.
expected that.
And yeah, they thought, did they believe in Putin's propaganda? Like we're gonna greet him
I
with
think
flowers?
so. I think
And
so.
I don't know. Maybe they were, because otherwise they should say, listen, Ukraine, something is going to happen. Let's see what we can do for you. What we can do with you. And they could prevent it. Absolutely. Again, just invite US Navy ship, a few ships in Black Sea, just to stay there in neutral water like it happened before.
Yeah.
Imagine what impression it would be. Just fly around Ukraine, just do your usual training like you did before. Just show you are there.
Yeah, that happened 2 years ago when also Russia was concentrating a lot of military. They were doing the same way exercise, kind of like this time. So without any announcement, Trump and UK, Johnson, they did one of the biggest military training in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. There was no any announcement. There was no any threat, any consultation, any round tables for a couple of weeks. It was done, and that's it. There was nothing.
Yeah. Remember what happened in Turkey? I believe for 40 seconds, Russian jet entered space of Turkey. 40 seconds. It was shut. Nobody cared. It's a NATO country. Nobody was afraid. Oh God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
When you're dealing with bully, you know what you do. You use the same. You want to show your power. You're strong. You not shake in front of a bully who is just threatening you. You're not gonna shake hands. You're not gonna talk to. You don't change alligator to be vegetarian. That's it.
Ukraine is a good proof of that. Now Russian very unexpectedly they discouraged. They have no supplies. They are losing war. About 40% of Russian troops who were sent to Ukraine injured, killed, or demoralized. They can't fight.
Listen, they had fuel just for 48 hours.
This is
they even
a
had
good
enough,
sample.
Had enough food, but you know what they had? They had dress blue uniform for parade in their backpacks.
Yeah, because they thought that in 2 or 3 days Ukraine will be done.
But they even did not. It's like so many those funny stories, like that lost tank in the middle of between few villages, and they even don't have GPS system. They using old Soviet paper maps from 1987, I believe, because they looking for specific village, and they in this village, because they don't know that village changed their name like 25 years ago.
And they took all signs. Ukrainians took away all signs, and so they don't know where.
Century. Listen, every taxi driver has a $20 GPS system, and those soldiers, the Russian tanks, and they don't even have that. They using paper map. What is that? They have food, that package of food supply from 2014, like expired and probably with some mold growing. What is that? So they asking for food and knocking the door and for fuel, or maybe they deliberately wasting their fuel just to pretend like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to be killed. Maybe, but just so sarcastically funny and scary, because every war, history since medieval times, since every war has to have a purpose, plan, and reason. Nobody start a war just I just want to have fun. I just want to have to kill 10 million people, or I have nothing to do.
Well, he's justifying, but he justifying because Ukrainians Nazis, and he came to help Russian people. So what we see now, the center of Russian culture,
Yes.
Kharkiv city, was
Yes.
leveled, and Mariupol, another one. They bomb it for non-stop for 2 weeks already, or 3 weeks.
Exactly.
They destroyed.
But,
It's completely.
You know, you would think, as we analyze, okay, he's such a dictator. He's a god in all military, action, and he knows, he plans. You think he really did not know what it means, Ukraine today?
He didn't.
He really
Obviously,
did
he
not
lives
know.
in his own world. He doesn't know what's a free
he has
country.
imaginary
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
He create and he believe in it. And I think at first time, for a long time, I cannot see his face. I cannot listen to his voice. I have no reason, but I push myself. I felt physically sick to listen that hour-long probably speech he made before all started, and I felt like I'm in some surreal horror movie mixed with tragical comedy, because it didn't make any sense. He was saying such a stupid, primitive things, and it looks like he does believe in it. But who is supplying? They saying he's not even using computer and internet. So all information about what he's having in a paper file put on his table twice a day. But again, it's a 21st century. How you can call country which is right here, which has history? Oh my God, we created Moscow. No, they created us. And he called us country with no rights to even exist? Like, okay, did you just fly from another planet? What is that? But if he did not start that war, it could be just like, oh, well, he's just patient or psychiatrist clinic, whatever, let him be Napoleon. But he's a real bloody dictator who believes, and he did everything possible for whole country to believe in his lie. We still can expect some people just, afraid, scared, but mostly probably, and I could not understand. My son helped me. He said, Mom, if we have generation born when he was already a president, and they live with that one picture of life created for them, how are you going to convince them world is different than you think? So it makes sense, but still, we still have some people with brain in Russia.
A lot.
And for me, it looks like sabotaging himself, because if he's making his plans with no plan, with no analysis, with no real facts, it means he lost already. But
he already lost, yes. And he arrested his advisors, by the way, because
a little bit too late,
Yeah.
Advisors.
Yeah, but it's not helping Ukraine in any way.
No.
And unfortunately, we see a little bit similar situation in the United States, because wherever politics saying right now on TV, they not, for example, mention the Budapest Memorandum. And if you avoid telling the whole truth, you're lying, basically. And I watch, trying to balance all information. So I watch a little bit CNN, a little bit Fox, and all these channels, and none of them mentioning it. Maybe a few senators somewhere around, not really in public. They talk about this, a little video, but nobody questioning obligation and
exactly. And I don't believe document like that has any expiration date. They act like, it's already expired.
Ukraine is not part of NATO. It has nothing to do with obligation that you signed
exactly
a little more than 20 years ago.
We didn't have a line. It was just the Ukraine. We even didn't think about NATO at that time. And now, again, it's a joke, but...
And Ukrainian politics... I'm sorry.
How we fight, NATO has to be honored to have us.
Yeah, because Ukraine...
they're not going to find better army and better country to fight for their freedom.
How many countries in NATO? Like 30-something? 26?
Yeah.
And small Ukraine start fighting against Russia, and Russia
Yes.
losing the war, and
Yes.
Russia will lose, already losing, but still a lot more Russian soldiers, and
Yeah.
it's not equal.
Ukraine is protecting NATO today
Yeah.
because
But-
those cruise missiles could be on a NATO land, but it landed up on Ukraine. And remember, we were talking before when we had very similar situation, like balancing very dangerously the Caribbean crisis. What happened between Kennedy and Khrushchev? This is when our last democratic president has respect from me, for example. Did he do something to not to upset Khrushchev? No, he did everything to make Khrushchev worry not to do any move to upset United States. This is how the biggest country in the world is supposed to act. And now we see totally opposite.
Yeah.
First, again, maybe not many noticed, since when Mr. Biden, as a president, is announcing, even, I think it was even before real war started, in one of his statement, he's saying, we don't have any idea or any obligation, and we will not put our soldiers, NATO, we don't, not gonna do any action. You don't even know what's really gonna happen. You don't have plan on your table, so why you do that announcement like you're not gonna participate? Everything can
he's
change.
giving green light,
Yeah.
light for Putin. You can attack.
And exactly, yeah. It's like, it reminds me that situation when all those peacemakers, oh yeah, we are gun-free zone. I'm telling you, if we have in every school and every college, every teacher, instructor has a gun, no terrorists would go and kill our children. But then you put, oh, it's a gun-free zone, it's a green light, go and kill us.
Yeah.
The same here. He not supposed, even if he has it in his mind, why he's verbalizing it for whole world to know. Oh yeah, do whatever you want with Ukraine. We're not gonna even bother.
We evacuated our embassy, and we're not gonna put our soldiers on the ground because it's a threat.
So you're free to go.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's not even ethical. I'm not talking even about big politics rules, but it's not even humanistic.
I think it's kind of betrayal,
Yes, it's a betrayal.
I don't think
it's an act of traitorship, because all that you put together, those little puzzles, and even now, what you want to hear from President, why he's vetoing a decision about giving us all those.
Ukraine is not asking protection with just give just give us
and
means.
He's worried how he's going to look in front of. Okay, give us those jets, Ukrainian. Pilots gonna fly, and we will say, don't worry, Putin, we just bought it in a sport equipment store, like they were telling in 2014. Oh yeah, we're not there. They just
he shouldn't even explain anything, because United States is the biggest, the strongest country still, the biggest army, the biggest nuclear arsenal probably in Russia, but still he will be afraid. Why? Because we had the very similar situation in Syria like 2 or 3 years ago, and there was 100 Russian tried to attack a military base where was some American with allies. So they just killed 100 of them like in the matter of minutes. They were talking, they were asked, and later on Assad was using or threatening, or there was incident with chemical weapons. So Trump said, "I'm gonna destroy, I'm gonna attack Syria." So Russian generals, Putin didn't say directly, but Russians, they said, "We're gonna shoot down all your missiles, and also we're gonna attack your bases where they came from." So what happened? BBC News, you can find video on YouTube. They said the world is on the edge of the Third World War.
Yeah.
And what happened? Trump, I remember this word. Watch Russia, watch our smart rocket will go and destroy. So he did what he said, and no, they couldn't even intercept this even one missile. And third of the Assad's air float was destroyed.
Was done.
And Russian generals was
nothing happened, right?
But Russian general it was a very funny story, because they were explaining why they couldn't take down any of missiles. They said because the Earth has curvature, and because of the
sure.
So it was a joke, and no word from Putin or anything.
No. Nothing?
Because Trump was respected.
Because he felt he's dealing with a strong leader, a strong country. He knew you don't mess up with such a strong leader. And now they just see what? Little rabbit in front of a wounded wolf? Yeah,
I think he is compromised. That's what I think. Because he's doing everything to destroy Ukraine. He didn't do nothing to protect, and he is not doing anything in interest of this country, because he was buying oil till like 2 weeks week ago. He stopped buying from Russia under all pressure from bipartisan pressure. He's just now stopped buying oil.
No. He did not stop.
He didn't.
I read between lines. They just gonna to look again into the trade agreement with Russia. You know how long it's going to take? It doesn't mean he stopped. No.
So he just said it.
Simply, but in reality, in documents, it said they're just going to check one more time Russian participation in the World Trade Agreement, something like that. One said, and another is in a document.
So he does. He's always he's saying one thing, but he doing whatever he wants.
If you give me one reason, or anybody gives me one reason why the United States, Biden, first day in the office, he lifted sanctions from Nord Stream 2, and he made Putin great again. Why we paying Russia for oil,
to bomb Ukraine,
100,000 everyday barrels every day, or even more. If we have zero cost free oil here, which we used for 4 years before that administration, we did not pay $1, I believe, for import of oil. Why? Because we have plenty. So
actually, United States was selling oil, not just
absolutely.
United States was selling. And if you look in some sources, they say it was one of the biggest, or maybe the biggest supplier of the oil.
Money. Our gas was below $2, and now we have 4, 6, and more than 7 in California, I believe. So and now
he's justifying.
Oh, I'm sorry, because we have war in Ukraine. Past couple months it started, so it wasn't any war. And don't blame Ukraine right now, because we have high prices in our store. It's another excuse without any reason. So it tells you a lot, right? We don't make any political speculation.
I think he is compromised, and a lot of people saying that he was blaming Trump, and they were looking for proof that he's a puppet of Putin. They couldn't find anything. They did big investigation. They spent like $50 million on investigation. They couldn't find in a few years nothing. And here we have every action what he did when he came to his office, to White House, and he did everything to destroy economy of this country and hurt Ukraine also. Now, because of this money, he Putin bombing all cities.
Exactly. And how scary it sounds. Just close your eyes and listen to that. We are sponsoring Putin. We are sponsoring Putin bombing Ukraine with our American money. You
taxpayers' money. It's not his money.
Exactly. It's a money of people everybody who buys gas, who buys anything, because gas is included, we paying triple price because all that goes to Putin's pocket. We made Putin great again. What else needs to be said?
Well, they justify it. We fight with climate change, but it doesn't make any sense, because when United States was drilling here and getting oil here, first of all, it's cleaner. Oil is much cleaner here, so less harm for environment.
And you don't need to transport it overseas.
Yeah, to transport it, it's extra. I don't know, 10% of the amount, or 5%. I don't know. It's millions of barrels just to transfer. So actually,
we need Greta Thunberg to explain all that.
It's simple logic. It's the same amount of oil will be burned, even more, because it's dirtier. And plus, to transfer this oil, to bring it to United States, it's extra, I don't know, maybe 10% of that oil. So
no reason for that.
And we sponsoring enemy of United States. And sponsoring war in Ukraine now. That's the most disgusting.
He has money, he's strong again, and he see weakness of United States after Afghanistan. And here we go. Now I can have my show. This is what happened.
How to approach to and explain this to Ukrainian who live here, who is citizen, who vote in, to explain these facts and who is real enemy, who is your friend. Because a lot of Ukrainians are voting for Biden, and in a lot of states there it was very minimal margin for his victory. And we can't speculate more because our video will be deleted. But even this small margin could be, could flip the scale to other side. So how to approach and explain Ukrainian to make the right choice in election, in midterm, in August, November, because if the same people will stay in the office, they will make same thing that they did before. No help for this country, no help for Ukraine, and all dictators will be financed by United States. And I know.
I have an offer. Use your sources, use your connection. Let's make like debates. I don't know what level you can do. I'm absolutely ready. In a way, I'm talking to you. If we're not politicians, but we're gonna ask few simple, practical questions to anybody who is gonna be opposing us. I'd be happy to hear any explanation. If not, it means we won, and I know we will win because there is no facts to fight our facts. We don't make any conclusions, just simple facts and
discussion.
Numbers
I think it has to be done, and because we being called, we made few videos. We're talking about this 2 years in a Facebook group, and they call us KGB agent, Russian puppet, and because they're not aware of this information. People used to watch the same channels or the same group of channels, and they don't go to opposite side to look. If you watch the same channels, or especially for Ukraine, you kind of think, and they make it look like it's true because they're not saying everything, like the whole story. Like now, they flip. On the news, we're not going to help Ukraine because Ukraine is not part of the NATO, and they don't mention Budapest Memorandum. This is good sample of the lie, how media can lie, and and the people think, Ukraine is not part of the NATO, but you see,
I have great example I was using many times. If just imagine. Work with your imagination. Germany or somebody else could stop Hitler to becoming a Hitler. In Munich, in 30s, earliest time when he just started, and he was putting together what he put together finally. if somebody did something, I don't know what, but let's say Hitler would not happen, how big difference whole planet Earth would notice, right? Whole history would be different. Millions and millions of people would be alive. Country wouldn't be destroyed. We wouldn't be having, just because of one little ugly leader with fascist mentality. So now we have, history has spirals, and we have to learn. If we did not learn from that, this is what we're facing today. We have the same, we call him Putler, right? Hitler, Putin, Putler. We have the same, absolutely, history spiral. One ugly dictator, guy with complex of inferiority from his past life, some trained KGB agent, which is enough to know who he is, who started his career in Russia from blowing apartment buildings all over the Russia and blaming Chechen people for that. He started how many wars? I don't have fingers on my hand to count it. And this is going on, and especially after Georgia, after Chechnya, after all other republic and all over. And he's doing 2014, Ukraine, Crimea, and nothing is happening. This is a final spiral point again.
It could be.
And now, for how many years? 20 something, 20 plus, he's in power. We were just feeding him with blood. And this is what we have today. Again, if somebody analyzes it, people can learn. It's so obvious to see what's going to happen. We had even many analysis, predictions, and calculations. And we paying for what? For our blindness, for not willing to stop a tyrant. We just feeding that cancer tumor with fresh blood instead of cutting it off. I'm a daughter of surgeon. I know if you don't cut it right now, gangrene or something is gonna be bad. Yeah, you can have some pain, little blood, but it's gonna prevent from spreading through whole body.
Killing
this
the whole,
is what happened. We did not do that again. Why? I would be happy to have that answer, but so far.
Again, George Bush, whatever he was, but maybe not the best president, but first war in Georgia, it was stopped by him. He sent 2 military ships, and he sent humanitarian help to capital Tbilisi, and after that war was stopped. Russia stopped invading and didn't stop bombing. And second war came to Georgia. Who was in power, Obama or Clinton? I don't remember. Every time Republican,
it's the same party.
Republican in power, Putin was quiet. He didn't start war. He didn't try to invade or.
No war started when Trump was in the office. No one war. No.
Actually, he ended couple wars. Even 40 years war in Middle East. Nobody could stop him.
Everybody was shaking hands.
Yeah.
North Korea was like, yes, sir. Everybody was quiet.
Syria,
Russians
everything. Afghanistan. They didn't have any.
We started to see other guys killed on the border again, few days after administration change.
Ukraine also was quite a few incidents, but not as many as before. Not thousands before.
But they started to shoot on the border. Every day we had 5, 7 guys. It's like 7 times more killed on the border when everything changed. Why? Another food for your thought.
Yeah.
It's not so difficult to put those facts together. But
it's not difficult, but if you watch one channel, you just have Russian, watch only governmental channel under control of Putin, and they don't even believe there is a real war right now. So I can't.
You know what is scary? As I said, I'm fighting Americans who watch Russia Today. They watching Russia Today, and they posting some I don't want to use bad words, but you know what?
Misinformation. It's informational war, yeah.
Yeah, but it's even more than disinformation. It's a fabricated false facts, but it's totally changing all perception. And Americans telling me, so I speak Russian, Polish, Ukrainian, English. I understand few more Slavic languages, and they go. I spent half of my life in Ukraine under the Soviet Union, and they telling me, you know what? I have better sources. Your thoughts is just your opinion. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. They have better sources. Russia Today.
Because they don't compare information. Russia Today, it's a red flag right away. Russia,
but even use logic. Like, I'm not gonna argue with I don't know, guy from Brazil or Albania about life in his country, because I never been there, right? And I have no idea about politics, but they feel like they have more rights to tell me how life looks in Russia and Ukraine, and who is right, who is wrong, and who is bombing whom, and it's like beyond even
I'm not surprised. Republican channel Fox News started repeating this misinformation from Russia. I'm so surprised.
Tucker Carlson
and CNN doing, even if it's fake news, they do better job describing and reporting what is going on in real life in Ukraine.
Yeah, it's telling the truth. And okay.
That's okay.
And really, we have to really be careful what we, how people receiving information.
Yeah.
But we cannot explain everyone. People, my thought, use your brain, open your eyes,
and be skeptical. Be skeptical. Check different sources. The opposite.
Or if you don't want to be involved, if you don't want to express your, it's okay. It's okay to be. When that saying from Dante, the darkest, hottest spot in hell reserved for those who were neutral. But I understand, if you don't want to learn, just be quiet, do your stuff. We have plenty of things to worry in America. Just don't interact from other side of barricade. So just don't be on another side of our enemies. Be just neutral, do your stuff, build America, take care of your family. Maybe it's not touching you, it's fine, we understand. But if you spreading information deliberately, wrong information, painful, for me, you're Putin's agent, and you work for that side of, you're gonna be paying your price, because history will not forget.
Sooner or later, the dictatorship came to Russia also similar way. People were silent. They didn't say. They didn't compare. They believed the news from TV. And look what happened. They think Russia attacked Ukraine. They don't believe there are kids who fighting in Ukraine and dying. They call into their kids, and kids saying that it is war. And this is what similar, not the same, but it's a metaphor, but similar. Things happen in United States. For people who watching CNN, they will believe one narrative, and CNN has their own corporate interest, and Fox News, unfortunately, is the same. And it's horrible if you're gonna watch only one party or one sources of news. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or CNN. You have to watch and compare and look different sources. Maybe trust, if you see somebody with reputation, maybe use other journalists.
Or ask somebody like us.
Yeah,
right?
don't make quick conclusion.
Information from first hand. Yes.
Ukraine won informational war, and 140 country out of 144 just supported Ukraine. So thank God Ukraine at least now supported with the whole world, and this support also give Ukrainian power and strength to fight. They're gonna fight till the end, and but information was very important.
Yeah, we know Ukraine is winning. We know Ukraine when it's the time. It's matters when it's going to happen. But only one problem: our tears about those people who losing their lives, about those killed innocent civilians, kids. We have more than 100 after Mariupol theater. I think it's going to be a few hundred kids, and this is a genocide. And this is happening in 21st century. Like, it's not supposed to happen. Even war of that style, war has to be done on a diplomacy level if you have any discussions.
It doesn't work.
So, but brutal way to put tanks on a street and kill people in their apartments. This is
hospitals, you know, and then
this is like go back, time machine going to World War II. It's a different society. We have different generation, different style of life. But it looks like Russians still study World War II, and they have no idea how to deal with civilization.
Because they believe what they say on TV, and they believe they're gonna fight fascists in Ukraine, Nazis. This is
about that. I think it was great saying in 1941 or 2, fascist Germany was bombing Belarus and Ukraine. In 2022, fascist Russia is bombing Ukraine, and Germany helps Ukraine. How weird is that? Just think about it.
It's horrible, and
it's horrible. But we will win. We are winning, and I hope even that little conversation we have here gonna open somebody's minds, eyes and souls.
Be skeptical.
And people have to do something. Pray, do some information, help, do some support. If you can offer something more, please, Ukrainians and Americans. If you can send $100 to those foundations. If you can buy a jet, do it. If you can buy a javelin, do it. Doesn't matter. It's your investment in a future, not only Ukraine, future of our generation all around the world. And even again, Ukraine is protecting NATO from Russia. It means for protecting the United States. That's it.
If Ukraine, God forbid, will be occupied, Putin not gonna stop. Next one will be NATO country and United States. Oh, it's European problem. Let them deal with it. He gonna.
You know what the problem? Another problem I see about him. He acts like a totally mentally sick person. He's a psychopath, and maybe, I don't know, it's my kind of idea. Maybe we know he has some other health problem, and
you mean
maybe
Putin?
He knows he's gonna die in a couple months, and he just decide, what the hell? I'm gonna take whole planet Earth with me. He can. I don't believe he's gonna push that button. Between him and that real button, it's like 7 people. I don't think so, but he can do a lot of damage just because he doesn't care. He knows all those billions, his palaces, his whole lifestyle, it's all gonna help. He sits like a rat in that Altai Mountains bunker right now, and he knows he's not gonna enjoy his life. He's scared of everybody. He has 7-meter table between his first-hand advisor, so he's done. He's not happy, he's upset, he's sick, he is done. He's dying like a wounded bear. And because of that, he has no limits. He has no common sense. And this is why he's doing what he's doing. Because he thinks he can do anything. Because if no Russia, why war has to exist? If no President Putin as a president, who cares? This is his sick mentality. And I believe he has to be stopped even by force somehow. because it's going to prevent another thousand, maybe millions killed.
Hopefully, such hero
has to be stopped.
will do his job in Russia, but
Yeah.
because NATO, you can't hope. Even we appreciate all help the NATO country, neighbors, Poland, and all this country in Europe, and United States also giving and supporting, giving some weapons and do a lot for Ukraine. All these refugees and
Still
everything. It's not enough, but we appreciate this help, everyone. But still, it should be different approach to.
Just a snack. We need some serious action, and I know we're capable of doing it. I know NATO capable. And
of course,
I know
even Ukraine resists bully 10 times bigger. It's a shame the country that has all power, and Ukraine would never been invaded if had nuclear weapons.
Yeah, it's time. We had enough. We had enough. So it has to be done something as soon as possible.
Yeah. So we still have to vote for right people that really support Ukraine, not just in words, but in real, action, whatever they do. It used to be like United States didn't announce that they're gonna supply whoever with military help, like Afghanistan. That was like 30 years ago. They just did their job. There was no announcement. It's not. It's superpower. Why you should not make announcement to serve Putin? It's horrible. But Ukraine is winning, and I believe the victory will be very soon.
It's a matter of time. I just, each minute of that war.
And we will try to support and help wherever we can send.
Each minute we're losing people, and this is a most cherishable thing we can. We're gonna rebuild country. It's okay. It's gonna be blooming economy, blooming country, better than we had before. But people, we're not gonna.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the price for freedom.
This is Well, glory to Ukraine, glory to our heroes, glory to America.
Slava Heroyam. And any message you would like to give to Ukrainian diaspora before we end our conversation?
I think we sent a real good message, a sincere message, but again, now we all united. We have to be united. Doesn't matter you're born in Ukraine, you live in Ukraine, or your grandparents came from Ukraine, or you don't even remember, but you just know you have some Ukrainian blood. Doesn't matter. If you don't even have to be Ukrainian, you just have to open your heart, your eyes, and your soul, and save our future. Because Ukraine is a great country. Even United States of America was built by Ukrainians.
A lot of Ukrainians
came here 30 years ago. So we just have to save the world, and Ukraine is the first thing we have to do today, because without our help, in any way you can, from $1 to something serious, doesn't matter. It's gonna save somebody's life, somebody's health, and we have to do it now because there is no time. We're already late, but still, right now, it's a perfect time to stop, to sacrifice a little bit, maybe a cup of your coffee once a day, or one beer, or a couple beers. Just use that money, that little amount, and there are so many ways to do it. As I mentioned, I already have 2 guys I directed to Foreign Legion in Ukraine, guys with some combat experience. Whatever you can do, please help our Ukraine. And please, I was calling to White House last week, finally through weekend, I got through, I made 2 calls, I left 2 messages, very salty message, where it's like, please, please, please do something. Don't be weak. Don't show your weakness in front of whole world. Help Ukraine. Close the sky in one way or another. Trust me, that telephone girl was almost choked up. I happened to have person listen to me, and I knew she was like, oh my God. And she was almost crying after my 90 seconds message. If they're gonna receive 10,000 calls per day, something will change. Please do it. Don't be silent. Do something. Help us.
I would suggest also ask senators in every
Your
politician,
local magistrate, yes.
what happened to Budapest Memorandum? It's a lie that you don't have obligation.
Yes.
It's a written document, and Ukraine was unarmed,
Yes.
and now they justify they're not helping because of no obligation. It's a lie.
Yeah. This is my message, and I think everybody understands. And future generation of Ukraine will be appreciating that.
Yeah,
please do.
We appreciate all your help. Thank you for everything.
And if you want to invite us, if you want to have question, and we're gonna answer.
Yeah.
The original people from Ukraine, and we have all sides of stories, and we have personal experience. And please include us. Call us, use us in any way you can.
I'm gonna leave your contact information if you would like to.
Yeah, please. Okay.
And as people
my
can
phone is almost dying 2 hours, so
okay.
I have to say goodbye.
All right, thank you so much for your time and help. Thank you everyone who listened to us. If you have comments, please comment and ask.
Thank you, Bogdan, and thank you everybody who was listening to us. Glory to